So we have part 2 of sitting meditation posture here. This part 2 is going to be with a chair because oftentimes it's not accessible for us or doesn't make sense in the given moment. For example, if we're in a bus or a train or even in the passenger seat of a car, it doesn't always make sense to be sitting on the ground in a cushion. Or even in the office if you want to be nonchalant. So we're going to work on sitting in the chair. And often, even people who have been sitting for a long, long time actually opt to sit in a chair because it can be easier on your body. And I certainly have had periods where my body's not feeling great and I sit in a chair as well. Many teachers do it, experienced meditators do it. So this is actually not to put a premium on the other video of sitting on the ground. If sitting in a chair is the right way for you, sitting in a chair is totally the right way for you. If you already know that, go for it. So really the focus here is going to be the same as the first video. And to reiterate that, we really want to be able to open up our diaphragm to send a message to our nervous system that it can activate the parasympathetic part of the nervous system, which is, you can think of the rest and digest, but we can also say it's the more calm, peaceful part of the nervous system that people generally want when they sit down for meditation, even though that's not always the case. So a lot of it I'm going to be turned to the side so you can actually get a better angle. But even from right here, one thing that you can see is, well, you'll be able to see this easier from the side, but I'm sitting normally here. My back is against the chair, so I'm not really having to straighten up. My knees are in, and my feet are pretty close, so my knees are kind of bunched up. And I'm a taller guy, so that might not be the case for you. Certainly, if you have shorter legs in comparison to the chair that you're sitting in, you need something to be able to touch the ground, and you need to not feel like they're dangling. So you want to have good contact with the ground. The same thing that we talked about in the first video about having 3 points of contact, a nice tripod, still applies here, except instead of your knees being points of contact, your feet are now points of contact. And you also have your butt, which is the same. So the first thing I'm going to want to do, and I think it makes sense to turn at this point, is actually sit forward in my chair. So I'm going to do that. All right. So before I'm sitting back, my back is inactive, my spine might be doing any variety of things. The nervous system's like fully disengaged, checked out. And if I lean forward, you can see I'm in this kind of crunched position. Even if I try and sit up straight, still, I'm really compressed. And my lower diaphragm is not going to be able to expand and contract fully, which is what we really want to get that nice nervous system effect. So, first I'm going to sit forward a little bit in my chair. And one way you can think of this, you may have heard of the sits bones in yoga. People talk about the sits bones. It's these kind of bony parts right kind of towards the top of your legs where it's kind of connecting into your butt. And if you can feel that kind of bony part, you want that to be towards the edge of the chair, wherever your feet are. And then you're going to want to move your feet to a proper distance. For me, I'm a little taller, so I have to move my feet out more, so that your knees actually have a downward angle. So I'm going to move them there. And that looks like they're really far out in front of me. It's definitely not a normal way to sit. It's not how we would be inclined to sit normally. But that provides me the opportunity to actually get a full breath. And you can actually try this for yourself. You can try, bring your feet in and trying to breathe like this. You can feel the constriction in this lower part of your abdomen, and that constriction is actually going to translate directly to constriction in your nervous system, at least relatively speaking. So, pushing the feet out, they might be here. If you don't have quite as long legs, you might not even have to worry about this. But wherever they are, you want your knees to be lower than your hips. So you can see it's a slight angle there. Spine, again, like in the other video, You want the feeling that your lower body is quite heavy, and it just naturally, by force of gravity, is rooting itself down. And your upper body kind of just floats up. You don't want to think about too much about, oh, am I overflexed or am I hunching at all? If you do what feels natural, you'd actually be surprised. Your body is able to get itself to a nice place relatively easily. And the other thing that happens here as people are sitting is sometimes, I certainly feel this way, I have the urge to let my knees drape out. So to show you what I'm doing, my knees want to go like that. As we start to relax more into it, and it feels more comfortable, but as we do that, we get into the same problem. We actually have to constrict here, and again, can't take a full breath. Even though it feels more relaxed, it feels more comfortable, it's actually not as helpful. So we want to keep those feet kind of in, wherever our hands are. Feel that ability to breathe into the lower breath, or the lower abdomen. And then to help the upper body posture, and this is useful whether you're sitting on the floor or in a chair, but it's particularly useful in a chair because the tendency, our conditioning, our training, is to hunch a little bit. So you can work all sorts of exercises to actually just lightly pull your shoulders back. And there's ways to open up through your shoulders and chest. So if you want to do some stretches before, that's very helpful. But even just doing some rotations of your arms, doing some expansive motions, actually allows your shoulders to naturally drift back without a ton of effort. So you don't want to put a ton of effort in. If you're putting a ton of effort, you start to defeat the purpose. There is some effort required, certainly, with all of this, but too much effort, and you're constricting it. So just enough effort to get the shoulders to drift back a little bit. And again, head kind of stacks nicely over the rest of the spine, maybe being pulled up by a string, or maybe just naturally feeling light. Okay. I think those are the basics of sitting in a chair. Well wishes to you. Please feel free to ask any questions about sitting in a chair or other styles of sitting if you have them.